Best in the country.
Rob, let's take a look at our starting lineups brought to you by Franz. And with Billy Barron, a terrific combination in the backcourt of sharpshooters Isaac Sosa and Harold Washington. And along with Chris Manhurst, you've got four captains in that five-man starting lineup. On the flip side for Iona, perhaps the best backcourt in the conference in terms of Lamont Momo Jones, your player of the year in the conference, and Sean Armand, who actually has been struggling with confidence late in the regular year. But the Gales, having won their last two, that and they're more comfortable.
Yeah, at times I always wonder why college basketball coaches don't do that. You see, football coaches aren't wearing a shirt and tie on the sideline very often. Now that Tom Landry's not out there, be comfortable.
Not anymore.
Be in your element. That's the way you're dressed every day for practice.
But then did you really want to see Tommy Lasorda wearing a baseball uniform?
Good point.
David Lowry with the basketball on this first possession for the Gales, who got the number 4 seed, and so they are wearing their home white uniforms. Momo Jones. Tavon Sledge had it blocked, and Lowry misses 2 bunnies, and that's been a problem for him this year. Washington to the reverse.
A terrific finish at the other side of the rim. He is terrific. One of the best slashers in this league.
Tavon Sledge will back it out. He's not much of a three-point threat. This gentleman is, though, Lamont Momo Jones, the former Arizona Wildcat, off the mark, able to get it in on his second try.
And you see right off the bat, he's a guy that's going to get plenty of shot attempts. Already here in our first minute of play, he's got 3 shots up.
This Iona team leads the conference in points per game at over 81 a day, led by Momo, averaging 23 points. And here's Billy Barron, twice a transfer student. Played his freshman year at Virginia, then played his sophomore year last year for his dad at the University of Rhode Island. And when his father got fired at URI and took the Canisius job, he followed to Western New York. Manhurst with his first 2. Lowry tries to answer, and he gets the roll, tied up at 4 apiece.
Now Lowry, after getting off to that great start, he was a guy that became eligible at mid-season, got off to a great start, has struggled since, but still found his way onto the third-team All-MAAC.
Barron short on the teardrop. Here goes Momo Jones. Strong finish with Heath giving chase.
Like a wide receiver, great rebound and outlet pass, right on the money.
Now you, in talking to head coach Tim Cluse before the ball game, learned that Momo Jones may not be 100% healthy, but so far, so good.
Yeah, he had 102 fever yesterday. Talking to Tim Cluse earlier today, he was hoping that he was going to feel a little bit better.
Manhurst with a strong move.
Well, he is as strong and physical with his upper body strength as anybody in the MAAC.
Armand misses the 3, and there is Manhurst, who has really had an awakening this year under first-year head coach Jim Barron. 6'6", 235, a junior from the Bronx. And he's got 4 of the 6 Canisius points. Our keys to the game brought to you today by Geico.
Well, the Golden Griffs got to get into the lane, whether it's Billy Barron or Harold Washington. When they get in the lane, they kick out for guys spotting up from 3, and then they've got to crash the glass. They're the best rebounding team in the league, but the Gales out-rebounded them in their 2 matchups. For the Gales, they got to defend the three-point line. Canisius made 26 threes in their 2 games earlier this season, and then they've got to be able to finish games off. Doug, that's been a huge problem for the Gales. They had a stretch where they lost 6 out of 7 games by a total of 11 points. Tim Cluse's team just 4-11 in games decided by 5 or less.
Harold Washington at the line, and he is one of those 2 terrific three-point shooters who flank Billy Barron that you talk about. Washington second in the conference in three-point accuracy at 42%. Isaac Sosa at 41% is 4th in the league. And when you add to the mix a premium point guard in Billy Barron, who led the league in assists per game, you said it immediately, Rob. Last spring when we found out that Barron was transferring and following his dad to Canisius, you said this is going to change the whole equation for them.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's what they lack. Somebody that could set guys up, and I knew how good of a player Billy Barron was. One of the amazing things about his stats, first in the league at over 5 assists per game, but 60% of those assists are for three-point shots. I mean, that is an incredible number. So that shows he gets into the lane, and Washington and Sosa just flare out to the 3.
Barron with a near steal. The officials confer, and it'll stay down here at this end.
They can confer to us and find out that that's the wrong way. Looked like it went off one of the Iona Gales' feet there. They conferred to the wrong people.
I'm still waiting for an official to look my way and ask for a conference. Taj Ridley, a little strong off the backboard. Lowry active inside, finding Jones, who missed it. Momo Jones with another offensive rebound and putback.
He's missed on each of his initial attempts, but has been able to convert with 2 offensive rebounds. Stick-to-itiveness, not giving up on the play.
6 early points for the MAAC scoring champion. Manhertz, kick it to Heath. And here come the Gales. Tavon Sledge, the former Iowa State Cyclone, gives off to the former Arizona Wildcat, but Momo can't connect again. Here comes Washington, 3-on-2 for the Griffs. And he is fouled on the reach-in by Sledge.
And as much as Iona wants to get up and down the floor, Canisius will be aggressive in transition as well. They feel like if they can rebound the basketball, talking to Jimmy Barron earlier today, that they will be able to get some easy buckets in transition.
And so Harold Washington back to the line, the senior from Brandywine, Maryland, in his 2nd season with Canisius after spending a couple of years playing junior college ball in Maryland at Cecil Junior College. And he has also had an awakening this year, not having to be the primary focus of the other team's defense.
And you got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, he averaged 17 points per game last year, but what he did is he really worked on his outside shooting. I mean, he has doubled his makes from beyond the three-point line already this season, and as you said, 2nd best in the MAAC at 42%. That was because of all the hard work he put in, working on that three-point shot in the offseason.
Well, he is a gym rat who has put up as many as 600 shots a day. Armand misfires, Sosa with a rebound.
And that's how you become a better shooter. Armand's another guy who gets a ton of shots up in the gym as well.
Near turnover, Tim Kloos wanted a 5-second call, but he didn't get it.
Amazing how the coaches on defense count quicker, and the coach on offense goes nice and slow.
Absolutely. Sosa catch and shoot. That's a challenge 2-point shot. Manhertz able to save it to Heath, who's spotting up. And the stretch 4 stretches with a 3-point shot, stretching the lead up to 4.
And he can do that, 36%. That's the hardest thing about Canisius. It's not 1 or 2 guys that can make threes. They really stretch you out with multiple 3-point shooters.
And Ridley with the answer with a 2 to the Jordan Heath 3.
And he has played so much better since he got himself back in the starting lineup after missing a couple of games with an academic suspension, averaging 12 points per game, including 2 double-doubles in his last 8 starts.
There's Lowry again. Tim Kloos screaming for Lowry to push the ball, and even though he is a 6'7" guard, he is as good a ball handler as you find for anybody who plays front court in this league.
Yeah, he will rebound and then bring it on the break. Bit of a point forward when he comes up with the defensive board.
Here goes Barron, guarded by Sledge.
See Sledge trying to sell a little push off there by Barron.
Barron, quick first step, and he was fouled by Sledge, who picks up his 2nd personal. First time out here, we'll take a break with the Golden Griffins leading the Gales by 2.
One of the key will be, especially late in the game, which team's going to be able to get some stops defensively. But right now, both fine with running up and down the floor in transition.
And it's Billy Barron at the free throw line. In talking earlier this season to both Iona guards, Momo Jones and Sean Armand, independent of each other, Rob, I asked what they thought about facing Billy Barron, and they both told me they feel like he plays very similarly to the way Jimmer Fredette played at Brigham Young.
No, playing off those high ball screens. Doesn't quite have the range that Jimmer Fredette had, and doesn't quite fire as much off those high ball screens. But he can keep you honest with the 3, but he can also finish at the rim, much like Jimmer was able to do.
Yeah, they both are big enough and strong enough in the upper body.
Yeah, a lot of guards can hide behind that high ball screen for a 3, but he can finish at the rim as well.
Cleanly played ball game so far, Rob. No turnovers through 6+ minutes. Washington hanging in the air and finding Elshwan Himes off the bench for 3.
He's a microwave. He's coming in and letting it fly from 3. Second all-time in Canisius history from beyond the arc.
The senior out of Janesville DeWitt High School, just outside of Syracuse. That pass was intended for Armand. Instead, Lowry thought it was for him. And so there is our first turnover. And there you see the NCAA leaders for three-pointers made in a ball game per game. Canisius and Iona among the national leaders, although the Gales struggling to start so far here today. They have yet to connect on 4 shots. Armand is the prime three-point shooter for the Gales. He gives off to Ridley. He can knock down that shot, doesn't do it there, as Josiah Heath was slow in stepping out. And you may have noticed there are 2 big guys named Heath, and indeed Josiah Heath is a 6'9" sophomore from Rochester, and his older brother Jordan Heath in the starting lineup, now on the bench, a 6'10" junior from that same Irondequoit High School in Rochester. Trey Bowman, the former Penn State Nittany Lion, guarding Billy Barron. Washington flashed to the ball, didn't get it from Barron, who resets. 12 on the shot clock.
Good hedge defensively by Lowry to really bother him.
Josiah Heath rattles it in.
Well, that's good patience and ball movement to get the open look.
Momo Jones elevates. Another offensive rebound for Lowry, who goes to his patented spin move.
He loves that spin, so you can sit on it defensively at times, maybe bait him into a charge. You see how Momo Jones gets himself into the lane. He's as good at planting and elevating as any guard in college basketball. That jump stop right into a power finish. One of the reasons why he's in the top 5 in the country in scoring.
Rob, we talked about the upper body strength of Billy Barron, much like Jimmer Fredette. Same can be said about Momo Jones. The only thing about Momo is that he's a bit shorter than Billy Barron, but still, like you say, no one gets into the paint better and elevates through traffic for a bucket.
Yeah, he's got great balance when he gets in there, always has 2 feet on the floor, and he's an explosive finisher. I mean, some guys land and kind of drill themselves into the floor. He lands and bounces right up.
Lowry missed a pair from the foul line, only a 64% foul shooter. Off of the miss and full court pressure that Barron is able to break. Missed his coast-to-coast effort. Here comes Jones back the other way. Still probing. He gets it to Bowman, who's a terrific outside threat as well. Here's Armand from the baseline. Nothing but net for the junior captain from Brooklyn.
And as you said, he's been struggling from deep the last basically 10 games. A lack of confidence. Hard to imagine a guy that shoots the ball that well would lose his confidence.
But it was on Iona's trip to Western New York where they got a little bit sideways, and that was where the Armand struggles from the perimeter started.
Yeah, Tim Plouffe said he could basically trace it to missing a couple of key foul shots late in that Niagara game, and from there, he has not shot the ball the same.
Barron again, and he misses again.
No, that's the key, missing those, because now it allows Iona to come out and run.
There goes Lowry, the point forward, and he is fouled on the shot. Good pace so far. We've got a timeout. Canisius up by 5.
Guards get up the floor. Momo Jones getting himself into the lane to create problems, and then Armand, one of the best strokes in this entire league. He is a terrific shooter when he's playing with that confidence, and when he gets the ball going, he's one of those streak shooters. He can go on a big-time tear.
And on Thursday, Momo Jones was named first-team All-MAAC and MAAC Player of the Year, and Armand was named second-team All-Conference. And if not for that late-season shooting slump, Armand very well might have wound up on the first team.
Here, a little 2-2-1 full-court pressure. As Tim Plouffe was saying, trying to keep them off balance. They had settled in pretty good against their man-to-man in the first 5-6 minutes of the ball game.
We haven't talked much about Isaac Sosa, senior from Puerto Rico who transferred after 3 years of being a terrific shooter at Central Florida. He's been another big addition for Coach Barron this year. Offensive foul called against Jordan Heath.
And you got to be careful because Momo Jones all season long has given up his body. The 25th charge that he has drawn, you see he's outside the line, and that is just great rotation and defense. So he's not just a scorer. He's not afraid to give up his body and help his team on the defensive end.
And Rob, after our game with Iona last Friday, we talked to Momo about the fact that he took a key charge and that he leads the team in that statistical category, and he takes great pride in it, and he said a lot of guys won't do it because it does hurt. Kurt Dennis, a little short, and it's Iona basketball. Heath the last to touch. The MAAC now has apps for your iPhone, iPad, and Android. The app delivers instant updates, including MAAC news, scores, standings, and videos straight to your mobile device. Visit MAACsports.com/mobile for more information. 10:23 remaining first half. Alongside Rob Kennedy, I'm Doug Sherman. Canisius up by 3. Iona with the basketball. The winner of this one advances to face top-seeded Niagara in the semifinals tomorrow. Armand off the bounce. Himes commits the foul.
And you do not want to do that. That was not necessarily a good shot for Armand. A little step back with the defender on him, but Himes bails him out with the contact.
Second personal foul on Himes, 6'2 senior out of Jamesville DeWitt, who would join the 1,000 career point club on senior day. Which tells you two things. He's never been a prolific scorer to get to 1,000 points, needing all 4 years, but he has been a solid contributor for his entire 4 years, whether he was starting or coming off the bench.
And mostly from beyond the three-point line, as we said, second all-time in Canisius history with over 200 threes, 209 so far now in his career.
Only Toby Foster with more three-pointers made in the history of Canisius college basketball. Armand 3 for 3 after being fouled in the act of shooting a three-pointer. He's got 6. Jones has 6, and we are tied again at 18 apiece. The follow slam by Jordan Heath.
And to see how important he is to this team, missed a couple of games at the end of the regular season with an ankle injury.
Momo Jones off the window for 2.
Well, that's what's so tough. You scored, feel good. You got to sprint back because Iona's sprinting down on the offensive end.
Barron calls out the play. The Heath brothers on the floor together now with Elshwan Himes and Isaac Sosa, who has yet to shoot one up. Barron uses the ball screen, and this time, with the proper English, gets it to go.
Now that's a tough finish, but you're right. He's got to be able to convert those. He's been able to get around and get into the lane on the high ball screen.
Dennis, long on that shot. Himes runs the break, pulls up, calls his own number for 3.
And both these teams not afraid to let it fly from 3 in transition. A lot of times in transition, you get clean looks from behind that line.
Iona used an 8-0 run to tie the ball game at 18 apiece. The Griffs have answered right back. Armand off the hesitation, and he'll go back to the foul line. Well, here's a look at our Pepsi Max slam of the game. Jordan Heath, a 6'10", 240-pound junior from Rochester. He transferred from an NAIA school, Roberts Wesleyan. And we heard from the previous coaching regime, boy, guys, when you see this guy play, he's a real difference maker. And you can see on that one moment right there what he's capable of.
Absolutely, and they need his size on the floor. As we said, he missed a couple of games coming down the stretch after twisting his ankle early in the Bracket Busters game against Vermont. But when they kept telling it, I wasn't a believer. I'm saying, well, then what in the world's he doing at Roberts Wesleyan? You and I looked at each other, had to look it up, but he had a terrific sophomore season and led them to the NAIA Final Four, and he's made a believer in me on what he's been able to do this season.
And in his first year as a Division I player here at Canisius, he's 8th in the league in rebounding, as the pressure is broken barely. And Jordan Heath also 3rd in the conference in blocked shots.
Well, they finally turned it over. Nearly turned it over 2 earlier times. And that's what the pressure will do for you.
Strong move and the lefty finish by Bowman.
That's the key, the lefty finish. Bring it with your right and you're going right into the defender.
First 2 points for the junior out of York, Pennsylvania. Back to a 1-point ball game. Washington barely got that across the timeline. A glance up, and it was 26-25 just as he was getting there.
Here comes the trap out of the zone defense. You got to be careful.
Spotting up, Jordan Heath. Manhertz tips it out to Himes. Himes from NBA range. Media timeout here in Springfield, Massachusetts with the Iona Gales. Down by 1.
He's a guy that's going to find a lot of shots. You know, not a guy that just throws them around, but he's got that innate ability to score the basketball. And like most good scorers, he finds good shots.
This is an Iona team that received a rare at-large bid to the NCAA tournament last year, led by then point guard Scott Machado, who spent time with the Houston Rockets this season. Foul against Jordan Heath.
And you got to be careful as a big coming out to hedge on that high ball screen as he picks up his second foul, because Momo Jones is so good and so strong with the basketball that he's always leaning in, trying to find that contact. So many times as the guy coming off that screen, when they hedge it, the smartest thing you can do as a guard, if you're strong with the basketball, find the contact, because now all of a sudden you put a big in foul trouble.
So Heath has to go out with those 2 personal fouls. And Momo Jones, who makes free throws like nobody else, certainly in this league, among the leaders in the country in that category, makes the first.
Yeah, second in the country with 194 makes coming in. Because of that upper body strength, because he's so strong with the basketball, he gets there, and then he converts at 87%. That's a good formula.
Only Eric Green at Virginia Tech makes more free throws, and Eric Green also the nation's leader in points per game.
It's amazing how that happens.
No coincidence, right? Absolutely. Momo's into double figures, and he's given Iona the lead at 26-25.
And since the Gales have gotten out of their man-to-man defense and have given Canisius different looks defensively, it certainly has helped them.
Washington quicker than the defenders to get into the lane.
That's not just Billy Barron that's going to get himself into the lane. That's what Harold Washington did all last year. He's one of the best slashers in the league.
The average is just under 14 points per game this season.
His scoring average is down, but he's a much better all-around player.
Armand clobbered, and he will go back to the free throw line for the 3rd time here in the ball game.
And he was a guy that didn't get to the foul line last year because he was pretty much a standstill three-point shooter. Worked really hard in the offseason to expand his game, and because of that, now all of a sudden, ball fake, you got to respect it. Now he's able to put the ball to the deck and make other things happen.
Armand remains perfect from the foul line. Lowry in, Gomez out. Jones the steal. And here comes that Gales backcourt. He's got a dozen. Armand's got 9.
And somebody's got to flash and help him out. Esprilla just standing here. When you've got that defensive pressure, you got to make sure you make yourself available. You see, there's the backside. Nobody's coming to help the guards. Good, solid defense. There's the strength again of Momo Jones coming up with a steal and conversion. Tim Plouse's pressure defense paying dividends.
Indeed, a 10-2 run, Rob, over the last 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Momo posting up on Barron, and he powers up, but Barron stood his ground. Washington again. A lot of contact.
Yeah, he's just too fast with the basketball in his hands in the open floor.
Trey Bowman. called for his first personal. Well, what has Jim Barron's presence meant for this program this year, Rob?
Oh, he's done an incredible job when you look at their turnaround. 13-win improvement, third best in the country. He's a guy that instills confidence, a guy that comes in, you know. He didn't worry about the fact that they just won 5 games last year. He's the type of guy that's a glass half full guy, and that kind of contagious personality. And the fact that, you know, he comes in with 25 years of experience and having won over 400 games, he was able to get everybody to buy in right from the get-go.
He had previous head coaching stops at St. Francis of Pennsylvania, at his alma mater, St. Bonaventure, and then the last 11 years at Rhode Island. Armand had it rattle out. It's Canisius basketball.
And you see his range. I mean, it's well beyond the three-point line. See the three-point line on the floor here in Springfield. Well, the NDBL teams, the Springfield Armor, call this their home.
And by the way, the Springfield Armor just last week acquired former MAAC star Edwin Ulis from the Siena product. There's a three-point bucket for Washington.
On this defensive assignment, no one was near Washington.
He's got 9, and we're tied again, 30-30. The winner gets Niagara. Gomez will replace Jones. And again, keep in mind, Momo Jones, who logs big minutes every game for Iona, playing at perhaps not 100%. He was running a fever heading into the tournament this week.
And a rare turnover between those two guys. Armand was coming off to curl. Momo thought he was going to pop out. One of the amazing things, despite the speed that Iona plays at, they just turned the ball over just 12 times. Think of how many possessions they get per game.
Barron with Bowman coming at him hard from the side.
Now that is a tough finish. Good defense by Groves. He's been chasing Armand around all over the place, trying to keep the ball out of the three-point shooter's hand.
Yeah, Reggie Groves, a junior from Raleigh, North Carolina, coming off the bench here today for Canisius. Gomez hands to Bowman. Armand the challenge three, and again he's fouled by Washington. 3 more foul shots coming up for number 22 in white.
He's saying he's got his hand up. Yeah, the problem is you came crashing into him. I mean, that's an easy one. You're going to complain about calls, make sure it's one that you got a chance to maybe get the officials' attention on.
First on Washington, the 9th against the Griffs. And Armand again at the foul line, where he is already, Rob, 7 for 7. It's a good formula when you're struggling from the floor. Just keep getting yourself to the line.
No, that's something that coaches always tell you. If you're missing shots, put the ball to the floor and get yourself to the rim. He's done that a couple of times, but he's going to have 6 of his 10 foul shot attempts on 2 fouled missed three-pointers. You got to bother him, but you can't bail him out. There's a big difference. You got to close out under control.
Curtis Dennis in, and Taj Ridley, one of the senior captains on this team, along with Momo Jones, having a couple of words on the bench. Armand remains perfect from the stripe. Groves, Barron, and Washington in the backcourt. Asprilla and Manhertz inside for Canisius.
So at times the Gales have been up and all out full court pressure. That time just backing up, forcing Canisius to take some time off the clock. Already now, shot clock winding down to single digits against the zone. Washington giving up a lot of size, but he's a lot quicker than Lowry. Got past him now with 3 to shoot. Barron's going to have to fire. Air ball, shot clock violation. That's a terrific defensive possession there by the Gales. Again, by dropping with that three-quarter court pressure, by the time the Griffs got it over, there's only 20 seconds on the shot clock. Hard to find a good shot sometimes against an active zone with just 20 seconds to probe it. Gomez, Bowman, Dennis, Lowry, and Armand, the 5 on the floor for the Gales from New Rochelle, New York, just outside of New York City, taking on the Western New York Canisius Golden Griffins. Lowry, good job by the big fella just to stand tall and strong. Yeah, Skrilla with his hands up, and he's got that huge body. When you lean on it, you're going to feel it.
Esprilla is listed at 6'10", 280. Lowry grabs the miss, and that triggers the Gales trying to run. Armand going to have a lane to the bucket, and he's going back to the line after Manhertz picks up another personal foul. Iona with a 1-point lead. Back to Springfield right after this.
Most difficult in this tournament.
Now Joe Mihalik has his Niagara team sitting in the stands behind the Canisius bench doing a little bit of scouting. Don't imagine we'll see them still here in the second half to get a taste of what their opponent tomorrow will be doing, whether it's the Griffs or the Gales.
And the Purple Eagles split the regular season meetings with both these teams, but they needed some heroic finishes at the end of both the Canisius game and the Niagara game to win 2 thrillers.
Armand finally misses after making his first 11 foul shots here in the first half. 34-32 Iona. Canisius has the basketball.
And the Gales have had a huge advantage on the foul line. 15 points from the line for the Gales to just 4 for the Golden Griffs.
Send to shoot. Barron draws the foul. And he will shoot 2.
Well, he plays like a coach's son. He's got a great understanding and feel for the game. So he calls the high ball screen from Esprilla, who's coming on his right. So the defense now sensing that, jumps to the right. What's he do? He rejects the screen, goes to his left, and gets to the line.
Well, no greater compliment, as far as I'm concerned, to a basketball player to tell him you play like a coach's kid.
Yep, and guys with a good feel and a good IQ. One of the reasons why he's had such a solid first season here.
Former Canisius player Keith Downey, going back over a decade. Same type of thing. Coach's kid growing up in Western New York. Just had an innate feel for the game.
And then he combines that with terrific athleticism. Great speed and quickness and that upper body strength. You have that combination of a good high Q and a good athlete, and you end up with a terrific player, which is exactly what he is.
Tough shot for Armand, but he buries it anyhow.
Yeah, a little step back, but looks like now he's made some foul shots. You get your confidence back in your shot. That could be a big difference for the Gales.
And the nation's #1 scoring combination, Jones and Armand, have combined for 29 of the 37 Iona points so far.
Now Bowman trying to keep the ball out of Billy Barron's hands so they can't initiate offense.
Washington had it blocked. Dennis tries for another block shot, but we've got a foul call.
Well, Armand set a school record with 101 threes coming in. Building on that total, that's a tough one. Step back, defender in your face. He's got that type of range. And as we said, ball leaves his hands. He's got a perfect release. Great rotation on the basketball. He's got good arc on it. Ball leaves his hands. You think it's going in. 41% on the season, 3rd best in the MAAC. And those numbers have actually come down a bit over the last 10 games.
Well, he has picked up his second personal foul, so Armand will take a seat. A young man who originally committed to Fordham University back when Derek Wittenberg was the head coach of the Rams. The connection to get to Iona, though, Jared Grosso, was an assistant at Fordham, and when he lost his job in the Bronx and got hired by Tim Cluse as an assistant coach, that relationship fostered the ability to bring Armand to New Rochelle. Momo Jones back on the floor with the basketball. Gomez. No, look at Lamont Jones keeping the ball alive. Bowman gets it back and puts it in.
Oh, you're right. He was going up against Esprilla, giving up tremendous size but not giving up athletic ability.
This is Iona's largest lead of the ball game at 5.
Good hedge again by Lowry, not allowing Barron to turn the corner.
Chris Manhertz blocked by Lowry. Washington got himself a clean look and knocks down the 3.
And another one of those Barron assists that leads to a 3.
Lowry to the spin, kick it for Gomez, who tries again. And he's got it. The junior from Inglewood, California, has already surpassed his season average of 1.9 points per game.
Yeah, not known for his like as a point guard. He doubles that at 4-1.
He's one of many transfers on this Iona roster. He was at New Mexico State before deciding to come east for his final 2 years. Shot clock off, 20 seconds remaining in the first half with Bowman guarding Barron. Washington watched by Dennis. 10 seconds now.
An all-out denial so that the ball's not in Billy Barron's hands.
Washington kicks it out to Hines from 21. Got a good look, but Canisius could not convert, and so they will head to the locker room, the Griffs will, down by 5. Our score at halftime.
Temperature the other day, and even in warm-ups here right before this second half, he was coughing, and certainly you can see not at 100%.
Canisius with the basketball to begin the second half. Very quiet first half for Isaac Sosa as well. 0 for 1 from the field. No three-point shots, and there they go to him on the first possession. Tough chance, though. And the 6'3 senior from Puerto Rico, who averages 12 per game, misfires to begin half number 2.
And tough shot because Taj Ridley came out and really challenged it. Again, he's a terrific three-point shooter. Only got one shot up, but you got to let it come to you.
Jones adjusts on the way up and still able to knock it down.
And again, he had a hoodie sweatshirt on underneath. You can tell he's certainly feeling the effects of 102-degree temperature, but it has not slowed him down.
Every time he gets a break to go to the bench during the game, he's got a towel wrapped around his head to try and stay warm. But he's now got 14 points to go along with Armand's 17. And this is the largest lead of the ball game for the Gales. Chris Manhertz fouled before the shot by Lowry.
Well, Tim Cluse said he hoped he was going to get a Michael Jordan-esque type performance from Momo Jones. He's gotten that, and he said the second thing, if he's not 100%, we're going to need a big game from Sean Armand. They get a huge first half, 17 points. Last 4 games, he had really struggled in the first half of ball games, just a total of 13 points in each of the last 4 first halves. Much different here tonight.
The screen deemed illegal by Chris Manhertz. And never has a surname been more appropriate than for that man.
Because he is a man, and when you run into him, it hurts.
It hurts. Well, he had a very productive first half with 10 rebounds along with 4 points. But he picks up that personal foul, which is his second. Jones, catch and release. Off to the right. Armand got a hand on the ball to knock it away for a moment, but the Griffs with it down by 7. Jordan Heath makes the jump hook, and it's back to a 5-point ball game.
And the Griffs got to figure out a way to score at the rim to then allow a little inside out for the 3.
There's Ridley again being active, tipping in the miss. And the senior from the Bronx has 4.
Well, Heath came over to challenge, and when that happens, now all of a sudden it opens up a lane to the offensive board on a weak side.
Foul called on Momo Jones, who can't believe it. And Taj Ridley certainly would be on the Canisius scouting report coming into this ball game. He had his career high at Canisius back in early February when he scored 18. And Ridley, along with Diggs Moikobu, were added as mid-season captains. Start of the year, it was just Jones and Armand. But Tim Cluse decided he wanted to make all 4 of his returning players off of last year's NCAA tournament team quad captains. And as you talked about in the first half, Ridley's missed time this year with a suspension due to academics. But since he's gotten back into the lineup and since he's moved back into the starting lineup, he continues to exhibit pretty good leadership. Isaac Sosa with his first points of the ball game. Armand. Wow. Whoa, and he slips and falls hard off the side of the court just to our left. And his mouth guard has come out.
Well, he was so deep with that three, he basically ran out of courtroom. And you notice that there is a lip from the wood court down to the carpet. Almost need to get a little ramp there so that you don't have this situation. So he lands, he's so deep, he's backing up. And he just goes off that little lip there. And that could be dangerous.
All right, we'll take a break. It looks like Sean Armand is going to be okay. We certainly hope so. I'll stay here as Armand talks to the training staff for the Gales. 7-point Iona lead. He's been replaced by Trey Bowman. So Bowman, Jones, Sledge, Lowry, and Ridley out there for the Gales in their home whites. This is the 4-5 matchup. Iona the 4 seed, Canisius the 5 seed. Sosa trying again for 2, and he's got it.
Now all of a sudden starting to get himself going after just finding one field goal attempt there in that first half.
The Central Florida transfer. Sledge clears through the baseline. Billy Barron gives him plenty of room. Ridley strong to the bucket, and with 2 on the shot clock, he lays it in.
Oh man, Hertz is rushing out at him. You got to be smart there. Take away the drive, force him to take the shot. By rushing out, you open up the driving lane.
Heath showing that range.
As we've said a couple of times, he's a stretch 4 or 5 man. Stretches the defense again.
Bowman left it short. Here comes Heath the other way. Sosa, a terrific three-point shooter, still looking for his first tray of the ball game.
And you will not get a better look and enough time to spot it up and tee it up than he did in transition that time.
Both teams hot to begin the second half. Sosa, along with Sean Armand, are the MAAC's 2 most prolific three-point shooters. Sosa averages just a touch under 3 made per game. Armand at 3.4 per game. And good to see Sean Armand back into the ball game with the basketball now, and again going into the paint and laying it in.
And in his first 2 years, he could not have made that play. When you put the time in the gym in the off season, it completely changes your ball game.
I found it interesting, Rob, that when you talked to Sean Armand and interviewed him at halftime, you referenced the fact that his confidence has wavered late in the season, and he quickly said, no, it hasn't. Even though he clearly has shown signs of that, he at least is putting forth a good front. David Lowry with a chance for 3, and Momo Jones overcoming the fever. Feeling good as his team leads by 9. Timeout here in Springfield. Mention again that the Iona coaches are wearing those sweatsuits for this ball game here again today as a means to raise awareness for the battle against cystic fibrosis. David Lowry completes the 3-point play. Josiah Heath coming in to replace his brother Jordan Heath. Sosa from NBA range. Lowry with another rebound. He's been very productive on the glass. Momo Jones splits the defenders. There's Taj Ridley. And he brings it back out to his fellow senior. Armand nearly gets his pocket picked, and now does. Washington just simply faster than Armand. Little floater by Billy Barron.
Here comes Iona right back at you.
Offensive foul against Jones.
And that was an important sequence right there. Manhertz giving up his body. The second foul on Momo Jones. And he is coming with the head of steam. I don't care how big and strong Manhertz is. That is a good play to give up your body.
Third foul against Iona here in the half. Only 2 fouls committed so far by the Golden Griffins.
Now with the smaller sledge, let's see if Barron tries to get himself into paint.
That's exactly what he does, but he missed the turnaround. Ridley another rebound. Sledge tries to dump it off. Ridley with the layup.
Oh, nice bounce pass by Sledge. He's a pass first point guard. Always trying to find a teammate. Top 10 in the league in assists. Nice bounce pass on the dump off there.
8 points, 5 rebounds for Ridley. Manhertz blocked by Lowry. Here come the Gales 4-on-3. Armand crosses over into the lane to the left hand once again.
Yeah, second time we've seen a tough acrobatic finish with his left, and Jim Barron needs a timeout. Iona out to their biggest lead at 12.
Game eliminated St. Peter's 54-47. That was a 9:30 tip-off, so a fairly quick turnaround for the Stags, but that's just the nature of postseason basketball, Ron.
Yeah, and a game that was in doubt until the final 2 minutes, so they had to extend some energy. The Stags, the only team in the league to sweep Ryder in the regular season. Jim Barron's not going to be happy with this one.
Offensive foul on Harold Washington. They wave off the basket.
Now here's Washington getting himself in. Looked like there was contact initially from Armand. The Gales do a real good job of sliding over and taking a charge.
The Gales on a 9-2 run.
They are overall not a very good defensive team. Dead last in the league in points allowed, field goal percentage allowed, and 3-point field goal percentage. But the one thing they do defensively is step underneath to take that charge.
And we talked about Momo Jones being the best charge taker. Taj Ridley is number 2 on the roster.
Now you got to convert that.
Tough shot by Armand, and he's called for steps.
Well, they finally come up with another turnover, just the 5th for the Gales. Now that's 6, but on that steal by Billy Barron, great feet ahead. He's got to be able to convert that. Even if you get banged a little bit, you got to be able to fight through that type of contact.
Sean Armand having a prolific scoring night with 24 points to lead all scorers. His career high 32, which he has reached on a couple of occasions. Now Swan Himes back in for Canisius. Shot clock at 10. Barron pulls up, and he hits.
Well, that's why he's so tough off those high ball screens. He can score it from behind the screen, or he can score it when he turns the corner to get in the paint.
Lowry trying to post up on Manhertz. Ridley hit the front rim. Canisius down 9 now with the basketball. Washington off the hesitation. Boy, he is like a lightning bolt out there, Ron.
And the 2 guards now stepping up, scoring the last 5 points. After the timeout, down by 12 good job by Jim Barron's team to come on out with some energy, get themselves back in the ball game. Put them to the line.
I want to get back to you coaching your brother at Columbia. So what was
at Monmouth. At Monmouth.
Oh, at Monmouth. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a different dynamic, you know, especially post game with my mom. Oh yeah, that was a little difficult every once in a while. Why'd you take him out?
Well, so in this instance, I mean, Coach Jim Barron has done this for a long time. His oldest son, Jimmy, was a star at Rhode Island, playing for Dad.
Yep.
And Billy has now played for his father at both URI and now at Canisius. And what do you make of their dynamic, of their relationship?
Well, it's a special time, and Coach Barron, Jim Barron's the first to say that. It is a truly special and unique opportunity. One of the most amazing things in that article the other day in USA Today was talking about Billy's recruitment after Jim left URI. And he took visits to Providence and to Purdue, and he wasn't sure if he was going to come with his dad to Canisius. And it was an email from his brother, as he's able to get to finish. It was an email from his brother, Jimmy, who's over playing professionally in Russia, that sent him a note that said, hey, look, I was not able to get to the NCAA tournament playing for Dad. Finish it up. You know how important and special that your last year was with him at URI, and it was that note from his brother that got him to finally decide to come with Dad to Western New York, and boy, are the Golden Griff fans happy that he was able to do that.
And this, for Billy Barron, is his first ever collegiate postseason game. At Virginia, didn't get into an ACC tournament game, and at Rhode Island, they weren't eligible. And so getting an opportunity to play in a postseason game for his father, and doing quite well, helping to get Canisius back within 5. Momo Jones lobs it up to the rim. Ridley comes down with it, gives it back to Jones for 3.
Now that is a big play. If he's got a fever and sick, and certainly he looked like it. He's given a Michael Jordan-esque type performance. Another changing defense. Now the 1-3-1 with Lowry at the point of that 1-3-1. Now they drop back and match up. More straight 2-3.
Billy Barron with his second straight 3.
And he's now taking the ball game over. He's had 2 real good games against these Iona Gales in the regular season. Averaged 21.5 and 7.5 assists. They're going to need him to have another one of those type performances.
Meanwhile, that Iona combination continues to produce. Armand getting himself to the free throw line. Momo Jones doing his thing. They've combined for 41 of the 64 Gales points. And here is Armand. Kicked it. 4 seconds to shoot, and so they fire away. Gomez couldn't connect. And a foul on the rebound.
You can't go behind the high ball screen. Nice kick out right here to Momo Jones. Broken play. Nobody's able to go find him.
17 points now for Jones on 7 of 15 shooting, rather. And that was his first made three-pointer of the ball game.
Canisius starting to pile up those threes in practice this week when they scrimmaged. Tim Kluse counted any 3 as 5 points to make the statement of we got to get out and defend that 3-point line.
Well, a once 12-point lead has been cut down to 5, and Chris Manhertz can cut it to 3 with a couple of free throws coming up. 6th team foul against Iona, and the 2nd against Taj Ridley.
Manhertz normally a good foul shooter, 74% from the line on the season coming in, but he has not looked good from the line. A couple of misfires from short. 0 for 3 from the line now.
Josiah Heath back in to play with those 3 personal fouls as his brother, Jordan, goes to the bench. Lowry thinking about the spin, instead goes right and banks it in.
Little half spin there, and it gets the defense on his heels, able to take advantage.
Well, you know the Canisius defenders certainly understand the scouting report of what Lowry likes to do, and they were playing him for that. Under 9 minutes left in regulation. Manhertz up and under, and the foul against Iona.
You talked about the fact that one of David Lowry's favorite moves is the spin move. Gets himself into legs, a little bit of a hesitation, half spin. Gets the defender off as he started leaning one way. Lowry able to take advantage.
Well, Rob, what's the importance of varying up your moves? Let's say that spin move is his go-to move. You can't do it every time.
Nope.
So how important is it to vary it up?
Oh, it's so important. You have to have a counter for whatever move you've got. So if you're a three-point shooter, your counter's got to be a ball fake, put it to the deck and get by people. If you're a post guy that's always coming back into the middle of the floor for a jump hook, you got to be able to spin baseline. No matter what your pet move is, you got to be able to have a counter on it because everybody scouts so much that guys are going to sit on your favorite move.
Jones for three. Off the back iron. Trey Bowman had it for a moment, and it goes out of bounds back to Canisius. Sean Armand just landed in the exact same spot where he went down hard a few minutes back, able to pop right back up.
I was thinking the same thing, but he didn't worry about it. He gave up his body. Great hustle to try and keep it alive.
Fans use the hashtag MAACHoops when tweeting about your MAAC basketball team. Hashtag MAACHoops is the best way to get all the information on basketball happenings around the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Barron lobs it up. And the finish by Jordan Heath.
Oh, that's a great play there. Smart play by Barron.
You know, Jim Barron was a terrific player in his own right back in the day at St. Bonaventure, and his youngest son's not too bad either.
No, that's just a smart play. That was going to be a tough finish on the run. Instead, makes it an easy play. Knows that the defense came up to take him away. Put it right where only Heath was going to be able to go get it.
But the problem is, Rob, that Jordan Heath, after finishing that alley-oop, picks up his fourth personal foul.
And he picks it up because, again, he's playing defense without fouling, because he slaps down. I mean, he's in decent position. Every once in a while, you got to make somebody just make a shot over you instead of bailing guys out. You swing down, that's an easy call for the referee.
And so the talented junior from Irondequoit High School in Rochester, sitting with the 4 personal fouls, as Trey Bowman looks to make the second. Bowman, a 90% foul shooter, looked like it there. He's got 6 points. Off the bench for Iona, just over 8 minutes remaining in regulation.
And Bowman's been a big factor defensively. He's the guy who has kept Barron most in check. His size has bothered Barron off those high ball screens.
Barron kicked it away. Foul called against Lowry, and Manhertz will shoot a pair when we come back to the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield. Tim Cluse and his Iona Gales a year ago won 25 games, and his rookie year as a head coach won 25 games as well. Won't get there this year, but certainly plenty yet to play for. David Lowry, by the way, had been called for his 4th personal foul, and so he's on the bench while Manhertz shoots 2.
Well, they've been pounding it inside to Manhertz over the last couple of minutes, and he's gotten himself to the foul line. The problem is he's just 2 of 7 now from the line. We'll make it 3 of 8, and again, this from a guy that shoots it at 74% on the season coming in. You're going to pound it into him, that's great, but you got to be able to convert. They've left a lot of points on the foul line. Griff's just 10 of 19 from the line.
Momo Jones, fouled by Josiah Heath. And that's where Momo Jones can make a defense pay.
He turns the corner so quick. Talked about his upper body strength a lot. Here's that strength. He's always jumping in, the guy who's creating that contact. Even though Heath got it clean up top, that lean in and upper body strength forces the official to make a call.
So now both Heath boys have 4 fouls for Canisius.
Well, during their 2 regular season matchups, Momo Jones struggled. In the 2 games combined, you see just 20 points and 7 of 25 from the field as Billy Barron got the better of that matchup. But despite the fact that he's sick and under the weather, they're having a big game here with 18 points.
One of the nation's prolific scorers at 23.2 points per game. He's reached the 40-point plateau a couple of times in his college career,
including once last year against these Golden Griffs in a game that you and I had in New Rochelle.
Afterward, he said he felt like Superman. Iona basketball off the missed turnaround by Sosa.
And trying to get Sosa going. They got him a good touch in the post. Not usually where he gets touches. More comfortable out at the 3-point line.
Alshwan Himes back in, replacing Sosa. He gave the Golden Griffins a nice boost in the first half. Did Himes, hitting a couple of 3-pointers.
And the pace has slowed down a bit. The Gales haven't been on the run in transition as much as we saw throughout the end of that first half and the beginning of the second.
Iona averages 81 points per game. They led the country in scoring last year at about 83 per game. A blocking foul against Canisius, and again Momo Jones driving hard to the bucket and forcing the defense to commit. Himes picks up his 3rd personal foul.
So in the first half, it was Armand who was marching to the line time and time again as he got himself to the line 12 times. Here over the last couple of minutes, it's Momo Jones who's marching to the line.
In your experience, Rob, how true is it that the team that gets to the free throw line most in a game wins?
A lot. And part of it sometimes is because you have to foul late and all of a sudden you start, building up those foul shot attempts. But usually the team that's aggressive and puts the ball to the floor and doesn't settle for 3-point shots and doesn't settle for jump shots, they're the team that usually wins ball games.
So far, that's been a big part of the reason why the Gales lead by 8 here tonight, along with that combination of Jones and Armand.
Yeah, they've outscored the Griffs by 13 from the line.
Bowman went for the steal. Now Manhertz backing down on Ridley, who was called for the foul.
Well, they found an opportunity, pounding the basketball inside to Manhertz. Now he's just got to be able to convert from the foul line. Gales are converting at the other end. That's not the case for Canisius.
Well, a lot of that is who you foul. And Manhertz is a good foul shooter, but he is not of the same ilk as Armand and Jones. 3rd foul on Ridley, by the way. And that is now 9 team fouls against Iona. Josiah Heath will play with the 4 personals, and his brother sits down with his 4 personals. Bowman lost his footing and turned it over. Well, it's still not too late to come out to the 2013 MAAC Basketball Championships here at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield. The women's championship game starts at noon on Monday. The men's title game starts at 9 o'clock on Monday. Purchase your tickets for the remaining games by logging on to Ticketmaster.com or at the Mass Mutual Center box office. The 2013 MAAC Basketball Championships. Let's go. Ridley and Manhertz really banging on each other down low, while Himes drives the lane for 2.
That's a tough finish with the defender Bowman hanging all over him. Himes known more for his 3-point shooting, but that was a big 2. And here's where, Doug, you got to wonder if you're an Iona Gale fan, are they going to do this again? Remember, we've talked about their struggles to close out games. Let's see whether or not they're finally able to do it.
Well, Momo Jones says no way. Strong finish. He's got 23. There was no more biting loss in the recent history of Iona than last year's NCAA tournament opener, where they led by over 20 points to Brigham Young and wound up losing to the Cougars 78-72.
And they've had a couple of tough ones this year as well, including up at Niagara in a wild finish.
Manhertz with the putback, and it's back to a 6-point ball game.
And if they're going to put all that defensive pressure out on the perimeter trying to take Harold Washington and Billy Barron away, then you've got to get somebody to score it at the rim. Manhertz now in double figures.
Jones got Barron in the air and made him pay for it. Momo Jones is almost single-handedly going to foul everybody out of this ball game.
Well, when he shows you the ball on that ball fake, it's just too tempting to leave your feet. And as soon as you're off your feet, he's jumping in, creating the contact. Tim Haney held off, really didn't want to have to call that foul, but Momo forces you to. And that's a smart basketball play.
And the good news for Canisius is that Barron's about the only one not in foul trouble. That was just his first.
So here's the ball fake, and as soon as he's off the ground, he's searching for that contact. He puts a lot of pressure, not only on the defense, he puts a lot of pressure on the officials because he goes and searches for that contact.
Momo Jones and Sean Armand are combined 19 for 20 from the foul line here tonight.
No, both guys, great foul shooters coming in, and Iona, terrific foul shooting team. Top 5 in the country at 77% coming in. That's what's so amazing, that they've lost so many close games, just 4-11 in games decided by 5 or less, because usually you're missing foul shots. You know, your alma mater, Syracuse in the old day, missing all those foul shots to let some games slip away. That's not the case with the Gales. They're a good foul shooting team.
And thanks for bringing that up, Ron.
Oh, tough day for you Cuse alums.
Barron for 3 again.
Wow, that's tough because Armand got a hand in his face. Well, that was not enough to deter Billy Barron. Trying to will his team and carry him, keeping him in the ball game.
The 12-point lead is down to 3. Tavon Sledge kicks to the corner to Curtis Dennis, and it was blocked by Manhertz. Shot clock at 3, and they give it away. Here comes Himes, 2-on-1. Barron missed it, but there on the follow is Jordan Heath.
A great job by everybody in blue, running the floor. Tim Cluse needs to take a timeout. Is this deja vu all over?
Of 17 points.
When you think about it, that game up at Niagara, which was a wild finish. I mean, the Purple Eagles at the end of regulation were able to get 4 shots up on the last possession before Wanye Green knocked down the 3. If they make 1 of 10 plays in that ball game, they're the regular season champs and the #1 seed. And that's how close the Gales have been to having a terrific season.
Washington commits the foul, and that takes us to our next break. The Griffs back within 1. Or at least a few of them who are going to take on the winner of this ball game tomorrow in the semifinal round. Momo Jones and the Iona Gales have seen their 12-point lead trimmed to 1. Only 6 points now for the senior. Joe Mahalical smiles, as we saw earlier here in this ball game. His ball club #1 seed just a week or 2 or 3 ago, and it's just been a crazy year that it's Niagara winding up holding off all challengers.
Yeah, certainly a terrific regular season in the depth. Tell you what, a ton of contact for no whistle there.
Manhertz, tough shot, got it to go.
Well, Canisius won't go away.
Manhertz, one of 4 Golden Griffins in double figures. He's got 13. Lowry back into the game, playing with his 4 fouls. Tough assignment for Alshon Hines. Jones, the pull-up. Halfway down, but it came back out. Heath and Lowry got tied up, and the possession arrow favors the Gales.
And I'm surprised Hines had a defensive assignment on Momo Jones there. I'd expect, especially with the fact that Billy Barron just has 1 foul, that he'd be the guy.
Slayton brings it back out and gives it to Momo Jones to again work on Alshon Hines. Iona making Canisius defend for the duration of the shot clock. And now timeout called by Tim Cluse, so perhaps that was not the method to their madness. Tim Cluse didn't like what he saw out of that offensive set.
No, he was not happy that they weren't able to get something going offensively, so he takes the timeout. Going to have to finish this possession here right now. It's a big one for him because they've never allowed Canisius to get over the hump and get that lead, and that could be a big psychological thing coming down the stretch.
Lowry.
Oh, and Barron could have had that steal. He didn't see the basketball.
Under 2 minutes to go. Jones on Hines. Off the window and 2.
And I thought coming out of the timeout that they may have switched it up, even though Barron usually guards the point guard. I thought Barron was going to get the defense assignment coming out of that timeout.
Instead, it's 29 points for Jones, the lead back to 3.
Now it's Jones with the defensive assignment on this end of the floor, trying to keep Billy Barron under control.
Hines feeds the post. Back they go into Manhertz. He goes straight up, can't get the roll. Lowry with another rebound as he continues to build on his double-double.
Well, he did a great job shaping up and getting good post position. You just got to be able to finish it off. Now it is Barron. Maybe one possession too late.
Jones again. This time he drives and dishes. The ball goes through the hoop. Thought we'd have a goaltending call, but it doesn't matter.
Wow, that could have been a huge missed call, but instead, since the ball went in, no big deal.
The Iona bench is told to sit back down.
And here's the good drive and dish. As the ball clearly tipped, but it didn't matter. Ball went in. Huge possession right here for the Griffs.
Washington missed on the finger roll, and then when he got the ball back, he was out of bounds.
Yeah, he was coming from out of bounds, stepped back in, but didn't have both his feet planted on the ground.
You have to reestablish back in bounds before you can.
Turnovers on the game. But the way that the Gales are shooting it from the foul line, you're going to have to make something happen with your defense.
David Lowry, the trigger man, out there with Jones, Bowman, Armand, and Ridley. And the foul given immediately to Ridley. And here's where we've been talking about this Iona team from beginning to end. Most of the roster all good to great shooters. And Ridley falls into that category of being a good shooter, 75%. And so Iona, with the 5-point lead, if they take care of business, should be in good shape.
Yeah, but Canisius did a good job forcing it out of one of the great foul shooters' hands. And it didn't allow Momo Jones or Sean Armand to get the catch on that baseline out of bounds against the pressure D.
And so it's the 4th personal foul on Washington, and Ridley takes his first trip to the line.
See, on the season, 75%, but I think if you're Jim Barron, you'll take your chances with Ridley. And a better choice to put him on the line than Jones. And that's why.
Jordan Heath comes in. Isaac Sosa will also return for Canisius. Himes will head to the bench. Manhertz instead goes to the bench. Himes will stay in.
And sometimes, Doug, it's not just about percentages coming in, but the fact that Jones is a perfect 10 for 10 and Armand 11 for 12. You don't want those guys going to the line because they're in a group.
And all of those Armand free throws came in the first half. He's not been to the line in a long time. Better arc on that second shot. Ridley gets the second. 83-77. Himes buries the three. Timeout, Canisius.
Well, Momo Jones is in a full-out denial against Billy Barron, so what ends up happening, you don't have help defense. Washington's so put Alshwan Himes in the game, and Himes has delivered throughout, including that last possession. He's a guy that coaches off the seat of his pants, and he'll go with the hunch here and there. Good job with that substitution.
The inbound comes to Jones, knocked out of bounds. The Gales will try again. Sosa and Bowman come back in. It's Washington and Lowry heading out with 36.8 on the clock. Ball kicked out of bounds. And again, Iona having trouble with this pressure.
Yep, and I like the fact that Canisius doesn't give up the foul right away. You got to force a team to get the basketball up the floor. If it goes to a guy who's not a great foul shooter, then give up the foul. But don't give it up immediately. Make them have to get the basketball out of a trap.
Here's Ridley, holding, waiting, and getting fouled by Sosa.
And now you're in offensive-defensive substitution, so Washington will get himself back into the game. Graves is in there for his defense.
That foul on Sosa, his second. And to Ridley, who a moment ago missed his first, made his second. Back to the line with two shots. Washington and Jordan Heath back in. Manhertz heads out.
Remember, Heath the better three-point shooter now, down by 4 with 31 seconds left to go. Got to start thinking about hitting some threes.
Ridley true to his numbers, 3 out of 4.
And Canisius right now, they've got 5 guys on the floor that can make a three.
Washington goes for 2 and gets it.
Well, you don't need the 3 right away. If they give you an opportunity, you'll take it. But the burst of speed to get around the defense by Washington.
And Washington just committed the foul. And that is his 5th. And we saw the realization on his face that he understood that I've just fouled out of this ball game. And we talk about it every year, Rob, how difficult it is for seniors to think this could be my last game if we don't win.
Now, they'll miss him on the offensive end. You saw on that very last possession his ability to turn the corner. Remember, a terrific three-point shooter as well. He's got 17 points on this game. So forced to give up the foul, but would have been better off if one of his teammates could have gotten there ahead of him.
And so now all Washington can do is go to the bench, hope, and urge on his teammates. Now you see the emotions for the senior from Brandywine, Maryland. Pulled the string just a little.
Just a bit, but because he's such a good shooter and because of that rotation on the basketball, he goes over 30 for the 6th time this season. Now you got to start thinking threes. Not enough time maybe for Canisius to make it up 2 at a time.
Barron missed it. Jones the rebound. 13 seconds on the clock. And it's Himes who commits the foul. That's his 4th personal, and the folks who made the trip up from the New York metropolitan area to root for Iona, starting to feel like they're going to get their spot in the semifinals tomorrow afternoon against Niagara. So the conference player of the year, Momo Jones, can try and ice it with a couple of free throws.
Okay. Despite the fact that Canisius is going to score over 80 points in this ball game, short of a miracle, looks like their season's going to end. They're 6-1 on the season coming in when they scored 80 or more. Their only loss against these same Iona Gales.
Barron hoists another three and hits it. Timeout, Canisius. Well, Barron has delivered the goods. Iona comes out of its huddle and heads down to the baseline. Just got to take care of the basketball here if you're the Gales. If you're Canisius, you're desperate to force a turnover or then immediately commit a foul. The baseball pass to Sledge, hauled in, and Iona's going to be able to run out the clock. Iona 89, Canisius 85. The Gales move on to take on Niagara in the semis.
And so important for Iona to be able to finish off the game. We talked about the fact they were 4 of 11 coming in.